Jack Doherty, once known for wild pranks, viral stunts, and chaotic energy, has now become something much darker. No longer just an internet clown, Jack is now the face of modern shamelessness. He's spiraling through scandal after scandal, and at the center of it all, a mix of financial desperation, moral decay, and total disregard for the lives he affects. It's not just that Jack is controversial. It's not just that he's loud. Jack Doherty has evolved, or maybe devolved, into the most unfiltered disaster on the internet.
Any phase in your life where you didn't make money and you were like, oh fuck, maybe that's it, like maybe it's over?
Yeah, I remember I moved out of New York. Like I just finished high school and I moved from New York to LA, and I got like a $25,000 a month house on Rodeo Drive. I was just doing YouTube at the time, and like my rent was like $25K a month. I was splitting with like 3 other people, but like still like I was doing like 30, 40K a month on YouTube, and videos are expensive. You have employees and stuff and rent and everything. It was like adding up, and I was like, yo, I need to make more money. Like I need to do something. Then I figured it all out.
What'd you do?
Started an OnlyFans management.
That's when you started it?
Yeah, when I was 18.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What started as content for clicks has morphed into something sinister, and now he's drowning. Let's be clear. Jack is in deep financial trouble, and instead of slowing down, reevaluating, or taking responsibility, he's digging his way out using the filthiest tools possible. First, it was crypto, launching a shady meme coin out of nowhere. Your real plan. No roadmap, just a live stream and a promise to get rich together. All right, I'm seeing everyone make money on these meme coins, and I want it. That's what Jack told his audience, a young, easily influenced audience. He positioned himself as just another guy chasing the bag. But what he didn't tell them was how risky and volatile these schemes really are, or that most of the people holding the bag would likely be his fans. But it doesn't end there. When the crypto hustle didn't fill the void fast enough, Jack pivoted into something even more disturbing, managing OnlyFans creators. But let's be honest, this wasn't management. This wasn't a business. This was exploitation. Jack started what he called a content agency on adult platforms. The way he described it, you'd think he was running some Silicon Valley startup. Yeah, when I was 18, I started OnlyFans management. That's when I figured it all out. He brags about it, like it's something to be proud of. But when you dig deeper into the testimonies, the stories from the girls he managed, and the way he talks about the whole thing, the picture changes. A lot of these women met Jack when they were still minors. And while they might thought it was all just goofy YouTube content at first, Jack had other plans. Jack realized early on that adult content could make real money, fast. And rather than build something sustainable or ethical, he decided to turn the people around him, his female friends, into digital commodities. He pitched it as empowerment, as a business opportunity, but behind the scenes, it was pure manipulation. You make the most money on the agency side of things. That's what Jack said in one of his now infamous clips. He made it sound simple. You come to parties, you get girls, you convince them to start posting. They need money, you take a cut. But what kind of cut are we talking about? Up to 90% of their income, according to some reports. That's not business. That's digital pimping. And the entire internet knows it. Fellow creators know it. Even his so-called friends have started distancing themselves. Foy slapped him. George Janko called him out on camera. People are done pretending this is just edgy content. Bro, they have fathers. Absent or not, imagine them seeing their daughter sell herself for a few grand. While Jack makes hundreds of thousands. These aren't just internet beasts. These are creators sounding the alarm, because Jack isn't just toxic, he's dangerous. And when Jack gets called out, he doesn't apologize, he doesn't reflect, he doesn't make excuses. I've got bills to pay. Let's talk about that. Jack lives like a YouTube millionaire. Luxury cars, designer fits, massive rented mansions with $60,000 monthly price tags. He flexes like he's made it, like he's some marketing genius. But the truth is, he's barely keeping up. And the only reason he stays afloat is because he exploits women through a system he created and refuses to let go of. Jack Doherty doesn't care about reputation. He doesn't care about morality. He doesn't even care about the long-term health of his own career. All he cares about is staying relevant long enough to squeeze every last dollar out of the girls she recruits and the fans who still watch him. When people ask him to let go of this business model, he plays the victim. I'm stressed out, man. These bills, they're killing me. But here's the problem. No one asked him to rent a $60,000 mansion. No one told him to live like a tech mogul with no product. No one forced him to tie his income to the emotional labor and body autonomy of women. That was his choice. And when confronted with the opportunity to change, to really change, what does he do? He doubles down. Because for Jack, it's not about growth. It's about to say, he's not trying to build a legacy. He's trying to cash out before it all collapses. He said it himself, began to speak out. And this time it wasn't critics, creators, or people online. It was someone who lived with him. Someone who knew his habits, his mindset, and his behavior behind closed doors. His ex-girlfriend. She wasn't a random person looking for attention. She had been close to Jack. And what she shared wasn't like gossip. It was a serious warning. She revealed that Jack had been communicating privately with a girl who was still under 18. According to her, he was messaging the girl months before she became a legal adult and was encouraging her to get involved with his digital business operation. It wasn't just the communication that was alarming. She described how Jack would arrange rides for this girl behind her back and allegedly coach her on what to say in case anyone asked about their connection. "You told her to say you just met that day," she said, "but you'd known each other for months. That's not just manipulation, it's something far more serious. And the fact that this came from someone who shared a home with Jack makes it impossible to ignore." She wasn't just an observer. She saw what was happening, and her testimony sheds light on how Jack's business methods might be affecting vulnerable young people. This isn't internet drama. This is a call for accountability. Because if someone that close to Jack is saying these things now, what does that say about what's still happening behind the scenes? So how does this all work? How Jack builds such a system that so many people are now questioning? It starts with influence. Jack meets people at events, parties, or through mutual connections. A lot of these individuals are very young, just starting out in social media, entertainment, or digital content. He presents an opportunity, a way to grow quickly. He says he can help them build a brand, make money, and gain visibility. On the surface, it sounds like mentorship. But many say it turns into something else entirely. Once someone becomes part of his team, the pressure begins. Jack offers a certain lifestyle, fancy trips, luxury homes, expensive gifts. But according to reports, it all comes with expectations. Some of these individuals have spoken about revenue splits that are extremely one-sided, up to 90% going back to Jack. That's not support, that's control. Then when someone questions it, they're made to feel ungrateful, disloyal, or easily replaced. It just happens, Jack once said when asked how he finds people to work with, "I meet them at parties." That casual attitude might explain a lot, because when people are treated like a number, like part of a formula, it stops being business and starts becoming something much more harmful. Several creators have called Jack out publicly. They've said this isn't helping others, it's using them. And when even fellow influencers are distancing themselves, it's clear this isn't just a personal dispute, it's a red flag for the whole community. Now let's talk about the lifestyle Jack promotes. He lives in massive homes, reportedly costing tens of thousands a month in rent. He wears designer brands, drives high-end cars, travels constantly. He shows it all on social media. But here's the truth. It's not clear how he's paying for it. Jack has said multiple times that he's financially stressed, that the bills are overwhelming, that he has no choice but to keep making money however he can. But nobody told him to live like that. And what makes it worse is that much of this lifestyle is allegedly funded by the earnings of people who trusted him. People who worked under his system and saw Jack take the majority of their income while they handled the pressure and the content. "I made millions off that," Jack once said. It was insane. He spoke about it like a game, but it's not a game for the people whose identities and futures are tied to these choices. Even now, Jack talks about wanting to move, about being tired of his current home, about switching it up. Well, what if instead of switching mansions, he switched his approach? What if he focused on giving back, building something positive, or helping people grow on their own terms? Because right now, this isn't mentorship. It's manipulation wrapped in luxury. The most troubling part? Jack could stop this. He could choose a different path, one that doesn't rely on taking advantage of others, but so far he hasn't shown any signs of doing that. He keeps saying the same thing. "I've got bills to pay." But a person's financial choices don't excuse hurting others. A rented mansion doesn't justify silencing the voices of those who trusted you. And if this behavior continues unchecked, it's not just Jack who pays the price. It's everyone who follows him, everyone who looks up to him, and everyone who thinks this kind of business model is normal. Jack Doherty isn't just a controversial figure. He's now being seen by many as a risk to younger audiences. Here's why that matters. Jack's fan base includes a lot of teens and young adults. People who are still figuring out what success looks like. People who are impressionable. People who see the content, the fast cars, the wild lifestyle, and believe that's the dream. But Jack's content doesn't just glamorize wealth. It glamorizes shortcuts. It promotes the idea that hard work and integrity don't matter as long as the money comes fast and the views are high. And the message is clear. If you're young, you can skip school, skip structure, and just dive headfirst into online fame, no matter the cost. But here's the problem. When someone with that much reach normalizes irresponsible behavior, it doesn't just affect their own life, it influences thousands of others. Especially when the way Jack makes money involves pushing others into high-pressure, high-risk environments without full understanding or support. Some viewers are starting to realize this. Some former fans are now speaking out, saying they no longer support what he's doing. And more content creators are raising their voices, saying the same thing. This isn't just about drama, this is about impact. And Jack's current path is leading others down a road that may look exciting, but is filled with stress, regret, and long-term harm. So what happens when someone young falls into Jack's system? They stop thinking about the future. School doesn't seem important anymore. Hard work feels like a waste of time. Everything starts to revolve around quick content, money, and image. And Jack makes it look easy. He makes it look normal. But behind the scenes, there are stories of people burning out, losing their motivation, feeling trapped. Some of them were promised support but got control instead. Some were given opportunities but not the tools to build something long-term. That's the true cost of influence used the wrong way. This isn't just about Jack living a certain way. It's about what he promotes, what he encourages, and what others might copy because of him. And if even one more young person gets pulled into this cycle, it's one too many. Because once someone falls into that mindset, it's hard to get out. And the longer it continues, the more people are at risk of trading real potential for temporary validation. This is why creators have platforms, not just to entertain, but to lead by example, to help others grow. And right now, Jack is using his platform to benefit himself at the expense of those around him. At this point, a lot of people are asking the same question. Should Jack Doherty face real consequences? Should he be banned? Should he be investigated? Should someone finally step in and say this has gone too far? Because it's no longer just speculation. It's not just people online making wild claims. It's firsthand stories. It's evidence. It's patterns of behavior that show a lack of care for anything but personal gain. And when someone is repeatedly accused of targeting young people, manipulating their image, and profiting from their work without offering real support or transparency, something has to change. Some say Jack should be removed from major platforms. Others say law enforcement needs to step in and look into the deeper issues. Either way, the current situation isn't just unsustainable, it's dangerous. He's been allowed to operate freely for too long. He's made excuses, deflected criticism, dismissed concerns, but at some point, excuses run out. Because this isn't just about influence anymore, it's about responsibility. And when someone uses a platform to create harm, accountability isn't optional. It's necessary. If there's one thing that becomes clear after watching Jack Doherty's rise, it's this. The empire he's built isn't stable. It's loud, flashy, and full of drama, but behind all the views and viral clips, the foundation is cracking. Why? Because you can only run from consequences for so long. You can only manipulate people before they start speaking out. And now they are. From former friends to past collaborators, even people who once lived under the same roof, they're all saying the same thing. Jack's business isn't about building people up. It's about using them to keep himself at the top. And even now, as his reputation spirals, Jack hasn't changed direction. Instead, he doubles down. He keeps streaming, keeps flexing, keeps moving into newer, more expensive homes. All of the world watches and wonders how it's still going. But deep down, even Jack knows this can't last. He's admitted the stress, the burnout, the feeling of wanting to change things up. But instead of building something healthier, he adds more weight, more pressure, more debt. And when this all falls apart, it won't just affect him. It'll affect everyone who looked up to him. Everyone who believed this lifestyle was worth chasing. Everyone who thought cutting corners was the key to success. That's the real tragedy of Jack's story. It's teaching the wrong lessons to the next generation. We live in a time where anyone can go viral. One video, one trend, one post, and suddenly you're known worldwide. But that kind of fame comes with a choice. You can use it to uplift others, or you can use it to take advantage of them. Jack Doherty chose the second path. He didn't build a legacy, he built a shortcut. One that all of young people promises a fast success and a lifestyle that looks great on the outside, but leaves others broken underneath. And now that shortcut is catching up to him. Creators are distancing themselves. Mirrors are calling him out. Even people who once defended him are asking serious questions. Because when your business is built on manipulating those around you, it's not a question of if it falls apart, it's when. The internet has seen this story before. Flashy influencers who rise fast and crash hard. People who confuse fame with character. But what makes this case different is the harm it may have already caused and a real risk of it continuing. This isn't about cancel culture. It's about accountability, about realizing that influence carries weight, and if misused, it has consequences. So now we reach the big question. What happens next? Does Jack keep doing what he's doing, ignoring the warnings until the platform is gone? Or does someone finally step in, whether it's a platform, a sponsor, or even legal authorities, and say this isn't acceptable anymore? Because based on the testimonies, the business practices, and the growing public concern, it's clear something has to change. But beyond Jack, this is a bigger story. A story about what we reward online, about what gets clicks, about how dangerous it can be to turn people into products and fame into a currency with no rules. The real message here isn't just about one creator. It's about what happens when people chase influence without accountability. If platforms continue to reward chaos, more people like Jack will follow. More young creators will copy the model. And more lives will be affected before anyone even sees the warning signs. That's why this conversation matters. That's why we're talking about it. Because even if Jack doesn't care, we do. And if you believe creators should lead with integrity, if you believe influence should be earned, not abused, then now's the time to speak up. Let us know what you think in the comments. Should Jack be removed from major platforms? Should his business practices be investigated? Should there be real-world consequences? And more importantly, how do we make sure this never happens again? If this video helped bring awareness, consider sharing it, because the more people know, the harder it becomes to ignore. Let's protect the next generation from making the same mistake. Let's hold those with power accountable.